Welcome to the Ancient Economists, the place where history is an economic sense. So why should you support the Ancient Economist? The Ancient Economist is an educative channel looking at the economics that made up the ancient world. This including things such as trade, supply and demand, and the economics of the increase of farming production. We also discuss topics that would be discussed in an economic sense only. Of course, this means we have to look at the history of a particular event that's happening. So we'll also actually look at the history of an event before we look at the economic stance of it all. So how can you support the channel? Simply by liking the video and commenting, as it shows that you're being interactive. This means that YouTube are more likely to advertise this channel, and therefore more people are more likely to join the channel, and therefore we'll have more advertisement overall. This also means you can tell me where I'm factually wrong, which means that I can improve the quality overall as I improve the quality of the research. Secondly, you can share the video with like-minded friends. It's such a niche content that I don't think that lots of people are going to be like-minded, but if you get more like-minded friends and share this video, it means that I'll get more bigger and therefore more likely to make more quality videos. And finally, you can subscribe to yourself, which means that a lot more people would, meaning that you'll be able to see every single video that I create. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little introduction. Let's continue to the video. So let's go on to our first video. Were city-states like Messalia successful? And why? So first, why are we doing this video? Well, we had a vote on the Steam page. Links will be in the description of the Steam page, of course, and photos on the right side showing you the posts that I actually made, and we voted on two particular ideas. The first one, which was vote A, how the dictatorship of Saylor had affected the Roman economy, and B, were city-states like Messalia successful, the one that we are doing now. It was very, very close. B had 4 votes, while A had 3. So I decided to take the executive decision to choose the 4 one instead of 3. But I do thank everyone who have voted, and I hope that you will vote for the next video, and the next vote that will be at the end of the video, where I put the reference list for this thing. Yeah. So, what was Messalia? Messalia was developed in the Gulf of Leon in 600 BCE. This was at the same time this area, Corsica, Sicily, southern Italy, were becoming colonised by Greek-cultured individuals. So from the Greek city-states, or from maybe even the likes of Troy or Atalonia. So people that were Greek-cultured. Not Greek people overall, but Greek cultured. So Messalia later, after its beginning and before its vacillation of Rome, dominated all of southern Gaul and had historic conflicts between Celtic people and Phoenicians, which is Carthage, which is why Rome and Messalia had a really deep alliance, because the Phoenicians were in deep conflict due to the 3 Punic Wars, which were between Carthage and Rome. So first we go on to trade. Like Venice in medieval times, Messalia had to rely on trade to become successful, as it was limited in terms of its resources in the region. This is found out by the 2 references I put at the end, which I listed as 1 and 2. Where they got the trade from was in Gaul, where they mainly traded in slaves. This is shown by the red border that I put around France, and Italy in green, which mainly traded in not wind but wine. I put wind, but I meant wine. Okay. So how did Messalia get to trade with Gaul? So remember, Gaul is France. First of all, Messalia actually liked having foreigners inside their walls. Later on we may talk about the political aspects of Messalia and how they were a lot more about finance more than what your culture was or anything like that. So they liked having foreigners inside their walls as it gave a lot more trading opportunities. This is including Gauls. There are a lot of famous Gauls that lived in Messalia, or a lot of deep-pocketed Gauls that lived in Messalia, and they were the first people to really have in contact with any sort of Roman. Definitely the Romans who were exiled after the trial of Cicero. I believe it was the trial of Cicero. The one with the governor of Sicily who was taking trophies from Sicily and then was banished, and he started the banishment idea of going to Messalia after you were banished, which Catalina really didn't follow. Anyway, so this means certain tribes that were part of Gaul would be more inclined to be friendly towards Messalia as some of their people lived inside of it. There are a large supply of slaves in Gaul. This is mainly due to the wars between tribes as they look for domination for the whole entire Gaul, and therefore there are lots of prisoners of war which they were sold into slavery, which was a common practice even in Africa during the colonial times. Demand for a large quantity of slaves were kind of known by the Gallic people in terms of Messalia. This was due to the frequent trading of wine with Italy. And how did Messalia trade with Italy? Italy has a large demand for slaves to increase the production of resources in the fertile area of Italy. So mainly the agricultural sector needed a lot more production increase by the demand of cheap slaves. Italy has an abundance of good quality wine, which is highly valued to both Messalia and Gaul, and therefore would be the primary trading resource to trade for slaves. Slaves would in turn increase the production of wine and allow Italy to trade for even more slaves, and later cause problems with Julius Caesar with his agricultural reform and the grain dole. I learnt about that in detail by a YouTuber which I will link down in the description. I've just momentarily relapsed in terms of his name, but I will put him down in the description, of course. And then finally, Messalia and Rome, as I said, had long-term allies after the First Punic War, which was between Rome and Carthage, with Messalia helping when the Carthaginian army tried to cross southern Gaul, which is where Messalia had his land. In conclusion, Messalia traded with mainly Italy and Gaul and became rich trading the abundances of resources from each region. So that means that in Gaul and Italy there were a lot more supply in terms of their resources, and therefore Messalia could actually trade some of that between each other and become the middleman, and therefore generating a very high profit. Italy and Messalia were long-time allies, and therefore Messalia had favourable trade deals between Italy and Messalia because they were good friends. Like, friends make good trade deals between each other compared to people that were not friends. It's very simple, really. And then the high demand of wine for Gaul meant that slave trading was more favourable towards Messalia. This was because Gaul had a lot more demand for wine than they needed slaves, so therefore they would sell more slaves for a least quantity of wine, because wine was a very big scarcity in Gaul, definitely high quality wine which came from Italy. And therefore Messalia took profits from both of the favourable trades and became powerful from them trades. And that is pretty much the end of the video. However, I would like to ask for you guys to vote on the next thing. So, First of all, I'm going to be putting this in the link on Steam. I haven't really thought of the second idea yet, but I will in Steam. But what I'm looking for is another thing to do with Saylor. Maybe. I'm still thinking really about that idea, but I'll make sure to make a Steam link about it when I post the video. But that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Also check out my other channel that I have, JTA. I think some of you guys may have known it, but I'll put that in the description as well. It's very different from this. It's in educationative at all. Educationative? No. Educative at all. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and goodbye.